Marco can identify our existing property on that map and clarify.
Ahorita lo que están queriendo aclarar, Gladys y Marco, es si va a haber o no va a haber una calle entre nuestra propiedad y la propiedad que se está comprando. Eso, y el doctor Alejandro está abriendo otro documento para identificar bien los límites de la propiedad y quedarnos convencidos si va a haber o no va a haber calle. Eso están viendo.
Eso todavía no está, o sea, ahorita en el plano que está mostrando el doctor es un plano que seguramente está en una base de datos, pero ahorita se está presentando, tanto Omar como nosotros estamos presentando nuestro plano, ¿cómo se llama esto? Ay, se me fue la palabra. Nuestro plan de ay, se me fue la palabra.
¿Replanteo?
El replanteo, ¿no? Nuestro proyecto de replanteo, y bueno, en el proyecto que nos pidieron a nosotros como Iglesia de Dios, como albergue, nos decían que en ese replanteo tenía que haber una calle ahí, colindando al hogar, ¿no? Que sí o sí tiene que haber una calle, pero nosotros hablando con Omar, él nos había dicho que él tiene un documento firmado por los vecinos que no van a necesitar una calle ahí, y él tiene la influencia con el alcalde para hacer que no exista una calle ahí, ¿ya no? Pero en el documento que nosotros hemos presentado...
Perdón, Marco.
Dime.
Entiendo de que ustedes dicen que aquí va a haber una calle.
Eso es lo que nos han obligado a poner en el replanteo a nosotros, ¿no? Pero cuando yo hablé con Omar de esto, me dijo que no iba a haber una calle ahí, ¿no? Porque él tenía las conexiones y tenía una carta de todos los vecinos donde decían que no necesitaban.
Que la junta vecinal no iba a necesitar eso.
No iba a reclamar esa calle, ¿no? Entonces, posiblemente no haya calle. Pero en el planteo que nos han pedido, nosotros nos han obligado a poner una calle ahí.
¿Puedo explicarle esto a Dave?
Claro, por favor.
Okay, Dave, what Marco is saying is that in the church is going through their approval process, and the city has requested that they place or that they plan for a road, but that they have talked with the neighbors in Bolivia. The neighbors have a legal organization called the Junta Vecinal, which is like a neighborhood board that can propose legislation to the city government and has a voice on what the city government does in the different neighborhoods, and that they have spoken with their neighborhood board, their Junta Vecinal, and that they're not requesting a road there. So in other words, the city cannot make the property owner open a road that hasn't been planned for if the neighborhood board doesn't ask for it explicitly. I don't know if that makes sense.
That does make sense, thank you. I guess what we're trying to identify on this drawing that you have up is there a road planned right now between the orphanage and this piece of property we're going to purchase?
Not approved, but as far as Marco understands, the city has requested that they plan for one, but it hasn't been approved yet.
So when you were saying that part of the process, we put together a plan of the property and we show what the adjacent properties are in that plan, then are we gonna put in that plan that there will be no road?
Well, we have to, in the coming 3 months, that's one of the things that we have to define. Because if there is a road here, then the 2,500 meters have to move in this sense.
Okay, and so in this drawing that you're showing me, which property, the orphanage is the far right square?
The orphanage is this which I'm marking with the blue line.
Because that intersecting road goes right into the front gate of the orphanage. That's why I don't think that's correct. The front gate of the orphanage.
I think that you're looking at it from another angle. Sorry, this plan is for the property. Let me open a Google map, a second.
Yeah, so you see that road that's coming up from the bottom of the screen. I'm assuming that that is the road, the dirt road that goes right into the orphanage.
Yeah. Give me a second.
Okay. So Dave, while he's pulling that up, just kind of to give you an idea of what he went through the whole process of what we know of as a closing. And he said, you know, we've got this 3-month period right now where Omar is pulling all of the documents together. And once he gets all the documents together, then we have a sales contract. Once we have a sales contract, he went over all of the steps that we have to go through. That process from getting from a sales contract to actually being able to break ground is 6 to 7 months. Are you there, Dave? No.
Estamos aquí, Marco. Es por esta zona, creo, ¿no? ¿Se puede ver? Estoy tratando de ubicar el hogar.
Yeah. ¿Ustedes lo ven?
¿O me he pasado? Ah, no, acá es, ¿no? Aquí es. Es en la radial 17.5.
Lo que Alicia quiere confirmar, Marco Gladys, es que dice que en el plano que está mostrando el abogado, la calle, esa calle
dice,
de...
Del aire, sí, Pablo, yo me apago.
Hogar, Refugio de Esperanza, ahí estamos. Perdón, Katy, ¿qué decías?
Que en el plano que nos mostraba el abogado, que la calle que entra, digamos, al portón del hogar, ¿no ve que hay una calle de tierra que va hacia la iglesia? Esa calle en el plano que nos mostraba el abogado, parece que no está bien ubicado, por eso ella quiere asegurar dónde en el plano que están mostrando de la propiedad que se va a comprar, dónde está ubicado el hogar por la calle, lo que no se veía bien alineado. Eso es lo que quería ver. Porque a la avenida, ¿no? Pero al frente del portón del hogar hay una calle que va, una calle de tierra que va hacia la iglesia, ¿no? Que hay ahí al final de esa calle.
Sí.
Eso produjo la duda. Ajá.
Ya, ahora sí lo tengo. Now I have it. This is, let me drop the map here. Ya, aquí está, ¿no? Lo que ella me está diciendo, sorry, what I think that what happened? Why did my screen go black? Okay, the street that you are talking about is, we can't see it on this map because this map is of Lot B, but it would be the parallel to this street. In other words, this street, there's a parallel street to the right. That's the street that comes up. This is where the sorry, what do you call it? The refugio is.
Okay.
Yeah, the orphanage.
Okay.
So the street that you're thinking of is the one that runs parallel to this one right here.
Okay. So B is actually the property we're purchasing.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So I guess so you're aware, Alejandro, is we don't want a road in between at the end of the day.
I understand. Yeah. What I can do is I can work with Marco, y aquí Marco lo que estoy diciendo es que puedo trabajar contigo para que no se abra esa calle, ¿ya?
Okay.
Que ellos están siendo muy explícitos de que no quieren que haya una calle ahí, entonces nosotros podemos trabajar en ese sentido.
Okay. Perfecto.
They're going to work on that, Alex. He's going to work on that with Marco to do all they can to make sure there's no street in between.
Y porque necesitamos tener una puerta, pues, ¿no? Para que tengamos ahí contacto con la otra casa.
Okay. So Dave had to hop off. So, so as long as you are aware that we don't want a street, I think that will suffice Dave's question. Thank you.
All right, perfect.
So then the other thing, unless you have something else you want to add on that, the other thing that I had was, so the handling of the deposit. So walk me through what that process looks like. Who should we wire because down here, we would wire it to a title company. The title company would hold it. And it wouldn't get transferred over until the sales contract was signed and everything was done, then we had the ownership of the property. So this is a little bit different than here.
Yeah, here what you can do is, well, in order to comply with the contract that I've set up, you have to give the money to the owner of the property. The way you would do that is, or the safest way for all parties involved is he gives you a bank account, and you transfer the money from a Haven of Hope International account in the States to his account in Bolivia. You will, the money will be stopped because it's $100,000. There will be an approximately 10 to 15 day review period where the owner of the property who's receiving the money has to disclose where the money is coming from and what its purpose is going to be, and he's going to have the contract to back that up.
Okay.
Okay.
¿Me lo puedes decir? No entendí bien. ¿Me puedes repetir?
Ya, perfecto. Querido Marco, ella me pregunta cómo hacemos el depósito. Entonces yo lo que le estoy diciendo es, el dueño de la propiedad tiene que darles a ustedes una cuenta. Esa cuenta, entonces, Haven of Hope de Estados Unidos va a hacer la transferencia directamente a esa cuenta. Ese dinero va a ser retenido, $100,000 son retenidos. Sería muy raro que no sea. La UIF, que es la Unidad de Investigación Financiera en Bolivia, le va a hacer una investigación, un rastreo al dinero, en donde lo va a llamar al señor que está recibiendo el dinero y le va a decir de dónde viene el dinero y hacia dónde va. Y él va a tener el contrato que dice de que él está vendiendo un pedazo de su propiedad y que el dinero está siendo remitido por el comprador de los Estados Unidos.
Sí, eso está bien. Sí, gracias.
Okay, so what would be the timing for us to pay this deposit?
My guess is that as soon as, he will want to sign because he's transferring certain rights upon the signature of the preliminary document.
Mm-hmm.
He'll want the deposit upon his signature.
Okay, so he signs the contract and then we can wire the funds.
Exactly.
Okay, and the contract does have a provision in there, if he walks away with our money, what's our recourse?
We have the land.
We have the land.
Yes, we have a preliminary contract over the land, which we, in case he defaults on the contract, then we can finish the process in his name as the buyers of the land.
Okay,
We can conclude the process, in other words, without his participation. He makes it easier, but it's not, how do you say it?
necessary.
Necessary, exactly. That's the word.
Okay, and so, it's my understanding that Omar is the son of the property owner. And so we have verified, I'm sure, then the name of the property owner. We've only
Yes, we
had
have.
communications with Omar, so,
Yes, we have. And the money has to be deposited in the property owner's account, not another person, even
And
if
you-
it's their son.
okay, and you'll provide me with that account information?
Well, the property owner has to provide us expressly with that information. In other words, he has to give us his account number and the SWIFT code and
Yeah.
all of the information in order for you to make that transfer.
Okay. And the timing before that happens, we're still saying that's gonna be 3 months before that happens, or that's something that can happen right away?
Well, the preliminary document can be signed tomorrow if we want to, okay?
Okay,
The final sales document, that'll be signed in 3 months if everything goes as planned.
okay. Okay, so do we have a final contract? And Marco could have sent that to me, I have not seen it.
I have sent you a draft of I sent Marco a draft, I'm sure he
Okay.
forwarded. Where we're missing one key piece of information, which is who is going to sign that document in Bolivia in representation of Haven of Hope International.
Okay.
Remember, this is being bought by the American Foundation.
Okay, so we're gonna have Marco sign on behalf of our organization.
Okay, and then I explained to Marco that we're going to need a power of attorney to get that done. Has he explained that process to you?
Yes,
Okay.
and so, well, he told me that there needs to be a document. Are you gonna prepare that power of attorney?
I will prepare the instruction. I'll forward the instruction to Marco this afternoon. He'll forward it to you. You have to get that notarized, and then you have to get it. What's that funny word?
Fine,
Sorry?
certified?
Certified? No, but there's apostille.
The apostolate. I don't remember how to say it in English either, but it's a specific type of certification.
Yes,
Apostolate.
exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Which is done by the Secretary of State. You mentioned that you were in Florida, right? Yeah, I forwarded Marco also because I recently did this with another company that was in Florida. I forwarded the web page for the Florida State. For the Florida Secretary of State.
Okay,
And you'll basically just send the document via courier to Tallahassee. They'll sign it and send it back to you. And I think it takes 1 or 2 days. It's a really simple process.
okay, so then
Once you have that, then you have to courier it to Bolivia. You can use DHL. And once we have it here, then there's a process here, but it's also not overly complicated.
okay, and then, so we will send that signed document to, I guess we'll send that to Marco?
Yes.
Okay.
Once Marco has it, then I have to get it notarized here, and then we can sign the document. So if we're talking the 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 critical route will be I send you the instruction, you have it signed, you have it apostilled, you courier it to Bolivia, and then I'll run the internal process here to get that verified.
Okay, and so once you have that document, before we send the funds?
Yes, because I'm gonna need that document for in order for Marco to sign the contract.
Right, but so the process for once you've got it, before he can sign the contract is?
A week.
A week, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, and then the other thing that Marco had discussed is then how are we gonna register the property? Maybe that's not the correct word. We have to make a determination of how we're gonna manage the land. Are we gonna manage it? Are we gonna delegate that to them to manage it? Where does that fit into this process? Is that have to be decided?
That's the other thing that you have to define. You're buying this property in the name of Haven of Hope International, which is an American institution.
Mm-hmm.
Remember that one of the processes is that you have to be registered as a tax subject in the city government.
There.
Yes, here. So
Okay.
Haven of Hope International, the American institution, will be registered in Bolivia as a tax subject. Okay, that means that you need an authorization that'll permit you to register as a tax subject. So in parallel, in those 3 months, we also have to get your registered, the American Foundation registered in Bolivia. And in order to do that, we need to define in what capacity you're going to operate in Bolivia. Sorry. If you're going to do it simply as a property owner, or you're going to run the orphanage or another institution, or you're going to administer it, you're going to finance it, that's something that we have to define, and we have to do it relatively quickly because, again, we have 3 months to get that process done so that you can register as a tax subject also.
So this is part of the preliminary. This is what we need to do before the sales contract, is that correct?
Yes. During that 3 month period.
Okay. Okay, and so once we define, let's see, this is during preliminary period. Once we define those parameters, is there a certain length of time that it takes for us to get registered as a tax subject?
Well, the registry of the tax subject is actually quite fast because as it is in everywhere in the world, what every country wants is more tax subject, right? So they make it really easy to register as a tax subject.
Okay.
That's the problem. The process of getting your personhood approved in Bolivia, that'll take a little bit of time.
Say that last thing, the process to get
The foundation approved in Bolivia to operate in Bolivia.
okay. That takes a little bit of time.
Yes. How much time depends on what there isn't a set limit to this process like in the city government or in the property register where it's a month and a half. It's actually 25 working days, and working days is Monday through Friday. So that's why 25 working days comes out to about a month and a half, okay? Those are set limits. In this case, there isn't. What the law says is that we have to present a project of what you're going to do in Bolivia as a foundation, as an NGO, actually, which would be your status here. What would be your activities as an NGO, the the foreign ministry, the Cancilleria, will approve that, and then once it's approved, then you can register as a tax subject.
Okay, so the registration of the nonprofit comes before we register as a tax subject.
Yes, yes.
Okay, and we don't know how long
You
that
need
takes.
one in order to do the other.
Okay, and we have no time frame on how long it takes for them to approve us as an NGO. But
Exactly.
once that happens, the tax, okay, so, okay, so then if we were to choose to be solely landowners, and we want to delegate to Marco and Gladys to manage that, do we still have to set up a foundation?
Yes, because as the landowners, you are a tax subject.
Okay. Okay, so either way.
I just want to make sure I'm understanding as well. So the registry as a tax subject, if Haven of Hope International is authorizing Marco to sign a contract, does that have legal standing if they sign it before, and then in the meantime, as we're working through all of these other documents, we're working on getting them that personeria? Like, does that affect the legality of the contract? Do they have to have that first, that they have a legal standing, or can it be done, sign the contract and then work on getting that registered?
No, because it's two different things. Bolivian property law does not prohibit foreign persons, whether they be a foundation or a natural person, of owning property in Bolivia.
Okay.
That's one piece of the contract. But on the other hand, Bolivian law states that as a property owner, you have to register as a tax subject. And if you're an institution, for example, a foundation, then you have to have your personhood recognized in some fashion. Whether you make a Bolivian foundation, or if you're an international company, then you get approved to operate in Bolivia.
Okay.
Whichever one, it's the same as a tax subject. So one thing is tax law, and the other one is property.
Got it.
So just curious, if I just was gonna purchase that property in my name, I could.
You wouldn't be going through all of this, yeah.
Right, we could just register it as a tax subject, as an individual, and then it's done.
Exactly, as an individual.
Okay. Even if she's a foreigner? Even if she's a foreigner.
Yes, because all she has to do is just she doesn't even have to have residence status.
Nice.
I understand that other countries limit you as a non-citizen if you can own property. In Bolivia, you don't even need to have a residence status. All you have to do is be here during the registering of the individual as a tax subject.
Interesting.
Okay, so I would imagine we need to have another conversation then to talk about that, how we are registering as a nonprofit, or do you want to, how do you suggest we proceed from here? Because it is 4:19 in the afternoon.
Okay, there is a difference with regards to one last thing that I wanted to mention. Non-profits are exempt from the property tax. So you as a non-profit will not pay property tax. You as an individual will. That's the difference.
Okay, so non-profits don't have to pay property tax?
Yes. You have to register as a tax subject, but then you're exempt from paying.
Okay. I'm curious though, I'm thinking that the Refugio de Esperanza has had to pay property taxes in the past.
Yes, but that's because they haven't registered their exemption.
So Kathy, you need to translate that so that they make sure they register. I can't believe Church of God has not registered as a tax exempt.
Dice que está explicando que que cuando uno va y se registra para pagar los impuestos a la propiedad, como ellos se van a registrar como un ONG, no van a tener que pagar impuestos porque son exentos. Y ella dice, tenemos que ver la manera de hacerlo también para Refugio de Esperanza porque hemos pagado impuestos en el pasado, pero hay que asegurarnos de inscribirnos como exentos a los impuestos, ¿no? Por ser fundación.
Y realmente es un trámite eso. Nosotros somos exentos como fundación, somos exentos del impuesto a las utilidades, ¿no? Tenemos esa exención. Pero en el caso del impuesto a las propiedades, hay que hacer un trámite cada año
Así es.
para poder hacer esa exención, digamos, ¿no?
Sí.
Entonces, pero en este caso el terreno le pertenece a la Iglesia de Dios, ¿no? Entonces ellos, por políticas ya de las iglesias de ACE, ellos han decidido pagar los impuestos para evitar una serie